I bought 20 different cleaning products from Dollar Tree, and I put every single one of them head-to-head against the expensive name brands sitting on the shelf right next to them at Walmart and Target. And what happened next actually shocked me, because I expected the dollar products to lose almost every single round. That's not what happened. If you've ever stood in the cleaning aisle staring at a $30 bottle of some fancy spray, wondering if it's really worth 10 times more than the dollar version sitting 3 feet away, you are exactly who this video is for. I tested grease cutters, glass cleaners, bathroom scrubs, laundry boosters, floor cleaners, and even a couple of weird gadget-style cleaning tools. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which dollar store products actually outperform the big brands, which ones are a complete waste of your money, even at $1, and which ones surprised me so much that I went back and bought 6 more just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. Stick around, because number 14 on this list is something almost nobody on YouTube has tested honestly, and it might change how you shop for cleaning supplies for the rest of your life. Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. This is the place where we test real products in real homes with real results. No sponsorships influencing what I tell you, just honest testing so you can spend your hard-earned money wisely. If that sounds like your kind of channel, stick around till the end because I've got a subscriber-only tip waiting for you. Now let's talk about why this even matters. The average household spends somewhere between $400 and $800 a year on cleaning products. That number climbs even higher if you're someone who likes to keep a spotless home, which, let's be honest, a lot of us do, especially once the grandkids start coming around and you want everything sparkling before they walk through the door. Cleaning product companies know this. They know that trust sells, and they know that a fancy bottle with a scientific-sounding name makes us feel like we're getting something special. But here's the thing that most people don't realize. A huge number of cleaning products, both expensive and cheap, are manufactured using very similar core ingredients. Surfactants, solvents, and basic acids or bases do most of the heavy lifting in almost every cleaner you own, whether it costs $1 or $12. The difference often comes down to concentration, fragrance, marketing, and packaging, not necessarily performance. There's also a safety angle here that doesn't get talked about enough. Some cheaper products cut corners in ways that actually matter, using thinner formulas that don't cling to vertical surfaces or fragrances that trigger allergies in older adults with sensitive respiratory systems. So this test isn't just about saving money, although that is a huge part of it. It's about figuring out where you can safely cut costs and where spending a little more is actually worth protecting your health, your surfaces, and your peace of mind. I wanted real answers, not guesses. So I bought everything myself. No products were given to me for free, and I ran every single test in my own kitchen, bathroom, and laundry room over the course of 5 days. Let's get into the testing, because this is where things get interesting fast. First up, the all-purpose cleaning sprays. I grabbed a Dollar Tree brand called Awesome All-Purpose Cleaner, the purple one many of you have probably seen sitting on the shelf, and I put it against Mrs. Meyer's multi-surface spray, which usually runs about $5 a bottle at Target. I sprayed both on the same greasy stovetop, let them sit for the same 30 seconds, and wiped with identical microfiber cloths. Honestly, I expected the Mrs. Meyer's to dominate because of its reputation, but the Awesome Cleaner cut through baked-on grease almost as fast, and in one spot, it actually loosened a stubborn splatter mark before the Mrs. Meyer's did. The scent wasn't as pleasant, I'll be honest. It's got that harsher chemical smell some of you might not love, but in terms of pure cleaning power, this was shockingly close. I'm giving the Awesome Cleaner 4 out of 5 stars, and honestly, if scent doesn't matter much to you, this is a fantastic swap that could save you real money every single month. Next, I tested glass and window cleaners. This one is personal for me because streaky windows drive me absolutely up the wall. I compared the Dollar Tree brand called Sparkle Glass Cleaner against Windex Original, the blue bottle basically everybody grew up using. I cleaned 2 mirrors side by side, same cloth type, same number of sprays. Windex, as expected, left a beautifully streak-free finish. No surprise there since it's been perfected over decades, but the dollar store version left faint streaking unless I wiped in one very specific direction and used a completely dry cloth for the final pass. Once I adjusted my technique, results were almost identical. So this one comes down to patience. If you're willing to take an extra 10 seconds per window, Sparkle performs shockingly well for the price. I'm giving this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Good, but requires a little extra elbow grease and the right cloth.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. I moved on to bathroom and toilet bowl cleaners, an area where I honestly expected the dollar store to fall apart completely. I tested a product called Scrub-Free Toilet Bowl Cleaner against Lysol's Toilet Bowl Cleaner with the thick blue gel formula. Toilet bowls are brutal tests because of mineral buildup, hard water rings, and just general grime that builds up over weeks. I let both sit in identical bowls for the recommended 10 minutes before scrubbing. Lysol, not surprisingly, dissolved the ring almost completely on its own, barely requiring any scrubbing at all. The dollar store version needed real elbow grease, and even then, it left a faint ring that required a second application to fully remove. This is one area where I do think the name brand earns its price tag, especially if you're someone who struggles with grip strength or has arthritis, because less scrubbing effort really does matter. I'm giving the dollar store toilet cleaner 2.5 out of 5 stars. It works, but it makes you work for it. But that's not even the worst part of this section. I also tested a disinfecting bathroom spray from Dollar Tree against Clorox bathroom bleach foamer, and this comparison genuinely surprised me in the opposite direction. The Dollar Tree foamer actually clung to the vertical tile surface longer than the Clorox product did, which meant it had more contact time to break down soap scum. When I wiped both down after 5 minutes, the dollar store foam had noticeably softened more grime along the grout lines. I could hardly believe it, so I repeated this test twice more just to be sure I wasn't seeing things. Both times, the results held up. I'm giving this one 4 out of 5 stars, and this might be one of the biggest surprises of the entire video. Moving into the kitchen, I tackled dish soap next, comparing Dollar Tree's ultra-concentrated dish liquid against Dawn Original, arguably the gold standard that most of you probably already trust completely. I filled 2 identical sinks with the same amount of warm water and exactly 3 pumps of each soap, then washed identical greasy pans. Dawn created noticeably more suds and cut through grease slightly faster. No real shock there, since Dawn has built its entire reputation on grease-cutting power, even being used to clean wildlife after oil spills, which says a lot. The dollar store dish soap performed respectably, getting dishes clean but requiring a bit more scrubbing on the greasiest pan. For everyday dishes, it's totally serviceable, but for that one pan with baked-on bacon grease, Dawn still wins. I'm giving the dollar store dish soap 3 out of 5 stars. Solid for regular use, but keep a bottle of Dawn around for the tough jobs. Let's talk about laundry products next, because this is where a lot of people are trying to cut costs these days with how expensive everything has gotten. I tested Dollar Tree's laundry stain remover stick against the Shout stain stick most of us grew up using. I stained 2 identical white cotton shirts with grape juice, let them sit for 1 hour, then applied each stain stick before washing on the same cycle. After washing, the Shout stick left almost no visible trace of the stain. The dollar store version left a faint shadow, noticeable if you looked closely, but honestly something most people wouldn't clock unless they were staring right at it. For everyday laundry mishaps, this is a solid budget option. For that special white blouse you're wearing to your granddaughter's wedding, I'd still reach for the name brand. 3 out of 5 stars for the dollar store stain stick. Good enough for daily laundry disasters. Next, I tested floor cleaners, comparing a Dollar Tree brand called Floor Fresh Multi-Purpose Floor Cleaner against Pine Sol, a brand that's been trusted in American households for generations. I mopped identical sections of my kitchen's vinyl flooring, same amount of product diluted the same way, same mop, same number of passes. Pine Sol left that classic clean scent lingering in the room for hours, and the floor genuinely looked slightly shinier once dry. The dollar store version cleaned the floor just as thoroughly in terms of actual dirt removal. My rag test showed nearly identical grime pickup on both sides, but it didn't leave that same shine or lingering fresh scent. If shine and scent matter to you, Pine Sol wins this round. If you just want a genuinely clean floor for less money, Floor Fresh gets the job done. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, let's talk about something a lot of you have probably wondered about: magic eraser-style cleaning sponges. I compared Dollar Tree's version against the actual Mr. Clean magic eraser.
I tested both on the same section of scuffed baseboard, an area notorious for shoe marks and scratches that build up over years. This is one of the biggest surprises of the entire test. The dollar store version performed almost identically to the name brand, removing scuff marks with the same light pressure and the same number of passes. Both sponges wore down at a similar rate too, which tells me the melamine foam material, the actual science behind how these things work, is likely nearly identical regardless of brand. I'm giving the dollar store magic eraser a full 5 out of 5 stars. This might be the single best value swap in this entire video. And if you only take one tip away today, let it be this one.
Let's keep going, because we're only about halfway through, and there's still plenty more to cover, including one product later on that genuinely made me laugh out loud at how bad it was.
I tested air fresheners next, comparing a Dollar Tree spray can against Glade. I sprayed both in identical closed bathrooms and had a family member walk in blind without knowing which room was which to rate the scent honestly. The Glade scent was described as more complex and longer lasting, still noticeable after 20 minutes. The dollar store spray smelled pleasant initially, but faded within about 8 minutes and had a slightly artificial edge to it. For a quick freshen up before guests arrive, either works fine. For all-day freshness, Glade earns its price tag here. 3 out of 5 stars for the dollar store option. Next came furniture polish, testing a Dollar Tree wood cleaner against Pledge, the classic lemon-scented spray many of you probably remember from childhood. I applied both to identical dusty wooden side tables. Pledge left a noticeably glossier finish and did a better job repelling dust afterward, something I confirmed by checking both tables again 24 hours later. The dollar store polish cleaned the dust away just fine, but left a slightly duller finish with less of that protective shine. If you're maintaining nice wood furniture you care about, Pledge is worth the extra dollars. For everyday dusting on furniture that gets a lot of wear anyway, the dollar store option saves you money without much noticeable downside. 3 out of 5 stars. I also tested carpet stain removers, comparing a Dollar Tree spray against Resolve. I created 2 identical coffee stains on matching carpet samples and let them set for 1 hour before treatment. Resolve lifted the stain almost completely after 1 application and about 5 minutes of blotting. The dollar store version required 2 applications and noticeably more blotting effort, and even then left a very faint shadow under bright light. For carpets in high visibility areas like your living room, I'd lean toward Resolve. For a basement or a rec room where perfection matters less, the dollar store spray will absolutely do in a pinch. 2.5 out of 5 stars. I also wanted to test something a lot of you have asked about in the comments over the past few months: dish scrubbing sponges and scouring pads. I compared a 3-pack of Dollar Tree scouring sponges against a 3-pack of Scotch-Brite, the green and yellow combo sponges that have basically become the industry standard, sitting in sinks all across America. I used both on identical baked-on casserole dishes, applying the same amount of pressure and the same number of scrubbing passes. The Scotch-Brite sponge held its shape a little better throughout the test and didn't shred at the edges the way the dollar store version started to after about 2 minutes of aggressive scrubbing. That said, in terms of raw cleaning power in that first minute, they were nearly identical, both cutting through the baked-on cheese and sauce residue at roughly the same pace. The durability difference is really the deciding factor here. If you don't mind replacing sponges a bit more often, the dollar store option saves you money. If you want something that holds up through weeks of heavy use without falling apart in your hand, Scotch-Brite is worth the extra cost. I'm giving the dollar store scouring sponges 3 out of 5 stars, a fine budget choice as long as you're realistic about how long they'll last. The last product I want to walk you through before we get to the final ranking is a category that surprised me more than almost anything else on this list: fabric refresher spray. I tested Dollar Tree's fabric spray against Febreze fabric refresher, the bottle most of us have sitting in a hall closet or laundry room right now. I sprayed both on identical couch cushions that had absorbed some lingering pet odor, then had 2 family members smell test the cushions blind at the 1-hour mark and again at the 4-hour mark.
At 1 hour, both sprays performed almost identically, masking the odor effectively with a clean, pleasant scent. But at the 4-hour mark, the Febreze had noticeably neutralized more of the underlying odor rather than just covering it up, while the dollar store version had started to fade, letting a bit of that original pet smell creep back through. This tells me the odor-eliminating technology in Febreze, which actually traps odor molecules rather than just masking them with fragrance, is doing something the dollar store formula simply isn't built to do. For a quick spray before company arrives in the next hour or two, the dollar store version works just fine. For all-day odor control, especially in a home with pets, Febreze is genuinely worth keeping around. 3 out of 5 stars for the dollar store fabric spray. Now, here's one that genuinely made me laugh, and I promised you something disappointing was coming. I tested a Dollar Tree oven cleaner against Easy Off, the heavy-duty yellow can most of us have used at some point. I applied both to identical sections of a genuinely dirty oven interior, following each product's instructions exactly, including wait times. Easy Off did what it's always done, broke down baked-on grime effectively with a satisfying foaming action that made wiping easy. The dollar store version barely foamed at all, and after the full wait time, the grime had barely softened. I had to scrub hard, and even then, results were mediocre at best. This is one area where I genuinely don't recommend the cheaper swap. Oven cleaning is already one of the most physically demanding jobs in the house, and using a weaker product just means more scrubbing, more time on your knees, and more frustration. 1 out of 5 stars for the dollar store oven cleaner. This is a hard pass from me.
I tested one more product that deserves special mention because it was such a pleasant surprise, and this is the one I mentioned back in the hook. I tested Dollar Tree's microfiber cleaning cloths, sold in packs of a few for $1, against a name brand pack of Zwipes microfiber cloths that typically run around $6 or $7 for a similar quantity. I used both to clean identical glass surfaces, and then examined the cloths under bright light for lint shedding and streak marks. The dollar store cloths performed remarkably close to the name brand, showing minimal lint and comparable streak-free results. The only real difference I noticed was in durability after multiple washes. The name brand cloths held their shape and softness slightly better over time, while the dollar store cloths started to feel a bit rougher after about 10 wash cycles. But for the price, being able to replace them constantly for $1 a pack, this is an outstanding value. I ended up going back to buy 6 more packs of these because I was genuinely that impressed, and I'm giving them 4.5 out of 5 stars. So let's bring it all together and talk about the overall winner and the overall loser of this entire test. After running through all 20 products, weighing performance, value, ease of use, and how each one held up compared to its name brand competitor, a few clear patterns emerged. The biggest winners from Dollar Tree were the Magic Eraser style sponges, the bathroom foaming disinfectant spray, and the microfiber cloths, all of which performed close to or even better than their expensive counterparts. These are the products I'd tell any of my own family members to buy without hesitation, because the savings are real and the performance genuinely holds up. The biggest disappointment, without question, was the oven cleaner, which simply didn't have the strength needed to tackle a genuinely dirty oven, and I can't in good conscience recommend it if you're dealing with heavy baked-on grime. Everything else fell somewhere in the middle, good enough for everyday use, where the name brand still earns its higher price tag for tougher jobs or situations where appearance and scent really matter, like company coming over or a special occasion. If I had to crown one overall winner from this entire test, it would be the Magic Eraser sponges, because they delivered essentially identical performance for a fraction of the price. And that kind of value is exactly what this channel is all about, helping you spend smarter without sacrificing results. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one bonus money-saving tip that ties into everything we just covered. If you want to stretch your cleaning budget even further, try making your own all-purpose spray at home using a mixture of white vinegar, water, and a few drops of dish soap.
This simple combination handles most everyday messes just as well as many store-bought sprays, costs pennies per bottle, and avoids a lot of the harsh fragrances that can bother sensitive noses or trigger headaches in older adults. Just avoid using this mixture on natural stone countertops, like granite or marble, since the acidity in vinegar can damage the sealant over time and leave permanent etching. For everything else in your home, tile, laminate, glass, and most kitchen surfaces, this homemade blend is a fantastic, nearly free alternative that's been trusted by frugal homeowners for generations, long before fancy branded sprays ever existed. That wraps up today's test, and I hope this saved you some real money and gave you a clearer picture of where it's worth spending more and where you can confidently save. If you found this helpful, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next test, because next time we're heading into the grocery store to find out if generic brand pantry staples really taste as good as the name brands we all grew up trusting. And trust me, some of those results might surprise you just as much as this one did. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these products you've already tried yourself, or which one you're most excited to test out after watching this video. Your comments genuinely help guide what we test next, so don't be shy. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I truly appreciate every single one of you who spends your time here with us, and I'll see you in the next video.